agree with Alan Greenspan, we ought to just eliminate the debt ceiling. Oh, absolutely, we do.
The ability of almost every working American to access more credit than they should have been able to masked the underlying fact that lower and middle class incomes were not rising.
That's not a tenable strategy. Isn't now the time to eliminate it? Oh, we've been time a long time ago.
Let's put aside terrorism. Let's talk only about our own homegrown animals that are patrolling America right now. So it goes down to the simplest thing. Be prepared, be vigilant.
You know, in many ways, this holiday season is kind of overshadowed by this idea that I'm on my last days on this earth. And not exactly the way I'm putting it, but it's more like a DC comic universe, a multiverse jump, where I'm going to Earth 2 in 2 days. In 2 days' time, I'm going to Earth 2. I'm going to utilize my powers of super speed like the Flash, and I'm going to jump dimensions to Earth 2. You know, in this realm, James is a hardworking 9-to-5er who does that whole dimension and does it well. And that's what James Walton is in this Earth. But right around the corner, man, when I break through that dimensional barrier in 2 days, life changes so radically. I can't understate that. If you've listened to this show over the last few episodes and you know that there's a radical change happening in my life, some of it for quality of life purposes, some of it out of necessity. And it kind of speaks to the adaptation of the human race still happening right before our eyes. So my jump to Earth 2 is just 2 days away, and that's an exciting thing for me. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, what is your jump to Earth 2, dude? We have no idea what you're talking about right now. For those of you who don't know, I be leaving a career in the regular 9-to-5 working world and moving into a career in freelance writing, which is incredibly exciting to me. It's going to allow me a lot of things. It's going to take some pressures and some burdens off of family members. And it's great news. It really, truly is great news, and it's going to make a big difference in my family. Yet before my voyage to Earth 2, before I break the dimensional barrier and become... Now, there's a myriad of benefits to why I'm doing this thing, and I don't really feel like going over it in today's show, but I implore you to dig into your own dreams and figure out ways, creative ways, risky ways. Like I always tell you, we were once crawling atop the treetops some some millions of years ago. Crawling along is it millions? Yeah, millions of years ago. Or at least a million. Crawling along the treetops. Apes, right? Apes. Monkeys trying to figure out, I don't know about this. The trees are disappearing. There's a lot of animals on the ground that'll kill us. Maybe we stay up here. Maybe we go down. There's plenty risk if we hit the ground. If we come out of the trees and travel the earth, then we're in much greater danger of getting eaten because we're just furry little soft creatures. Right? We're furry little soft creatures. Homo habilis at the time, right? We're just furry little soft creatures, and we're at high risk on that ground. But up here we're safe. But the trees are disappearing. The climate is changing. What do we do? And inherently the human race has taken great risks throughout history, and that was one of them when we came down out of the trees. We came down out of the trees and began to walk upright over time. This created what you see today, the brilliance, the magnificence of the human race. So do what you do. You're a monkey. You're a human monkey. It's time to take a risk. Okay, calculate it. Take a risk with the most benefits for you and your family. Over the weekend, now, jump set. Over the weekend, we've seen that Fidel, the hero, the liberal hero Fidel Castro passed away. Right? Everyone wore their Che Guevara t-shirts on CNN. And many of them tried to get over on an anchor, Tony Lamas, I think his name is. And he basically came out and said, let's be real honest about this Fidel Castro and talk about the nightmare that he created for my people. This was a real Cuban talking, not a white person with a Cuban flag T-shirt on, pretending like Fidel Castro was a great hero of our time. Now, I'm not going to do a whole show on what this guy is, what he was, the terror. You can look it up. I don't want to talk about it. It's negativity. It's brutality. What I will tell you is a little nugget that I read from the Federalist.com this morning around 3:30 a.m. Because what I've found in my short 30 years on the planet is it's good to get up and do some work when everyone else is sleeping. Or it's good to get up and do some work when everyone else is worrying about sleeping. So in other words, while you were tossing and turning around 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock, wondering why you can't sleep, wondering what effect it's going to have on you, wondering if it's messing up your sex life, is it shortening your lifespan, worrying about the insomnia in your life, I was busy taking advantage of the insomnia in my life. Do you understand? I had a giant-headed American bulldog staring at me from the bedside crying, the most beautiful little girl, right? She had to pee. 3:30 a.m. And I said to myself, well, I can get up and I can work. Or I can get up and I can come upstairs and I can sit down or lay down in bed and think about working, worry about getting to work, worry about finishing this, no. Toss and turn until 4:30, then get even more upset about the fact that I haven't got any sleep and I've been laying in bed since 3:30. The big secret with sleep is when you're up, get up. When you're up, get up and get some work. You'll sleep later or go to bed earlier the next day. That's all. People are driving themselves insane about sleep. They're medicating themselves to death. They're over-medicating to achieve this magic of sleep. This idea that we should have 8 pristine hours of sleep every day. When you're at a certain point in your life, it's possible. When you're at other points, like where I'm at in my life, 30 years old, 2 kids, jumping careers, it's not possible. It's impossible. And I won't worry myself about it. Neither should you. But this brilliant article by the Federalist.com, who brought up an incredible point about Castro that goes way beyond the idea that he was a despot, the idea that he was a tyrannical ruler who imprisoned political dissidents, Christians, gays, imprisoned these people, right? Put them away for disagreement. Not one iota of free speech in Cuba. And I hear people already with the reprisal. Right? I hear you already. Well, great health care. Incredible literacy. There's no denying the literacy is impressive, right? People in his country almost entirely literate, the whole gamut. And the health care that's so great that he came here to get his surgery. I'm just going to put that one out there to start with. Look back in the history if you don't believe me. Yes, he had a very serious surgery he had to get some 3-4 years back, and he wound up doing it in a hospital in America. That's number one on that issue. Number two is they're an island nation with almost zero immigration. So when you're doing socialist medicine, when you're doing medicine funded by the government, when you're doing medicine with limitations, it helps to have a population that's extremely limited. As opposed to the America that you know and love today, that is still the diverse melting pot that it always has been. The only problem now is that it's kind of, the moorings are busting off the doors. It's an unsustainable model for a nation such as this that is getting crushed by immigration. I don't have to say any more on that. That is just succinct, sewn up, closed up. That's the situation. Give them a hand clap on literacy, and then explain the differences in nations and medical care within the nations based on immigration and based on the fact that you live on an island. Back to the Federalist article. He mentioned a leader high up in the Soviet Union who was dealing directly with Fidel during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And he mentioned that this Russian leader had to pull back Fidel on a regular basis about his overwhelming desire to attack America with nuclear weapons. The quote that the man said was, we're not going to let Fidel Castro take us to the grave with him. He was so starved for blood and battle and war that this was sort of his mindset. His mindset was, let's take these Americans out at any cost, because that's how he came up, you have to understand. Now he pulled Cuba out from underneath the rock of Batista, who was also a brutal monster. And he was forged under guerrilla warfare and under war and under terrible things. The only problem is he never adapted and evolved. He carried on the vile destruction of his nation, and the people there were so poor that they had to do whatever they could to eat. Right? There was no security, there was no economic security in that nation ever. It suffered from all the same woes that we watch socialist South America go through on a consistent basis. We watch these socialist nations struggle, yet we hear our politicians tell us about how great their medical care is, and their schooling, and their this, and their that, and how wonderful their socialist model is, again, understanding that immigration is limited in comparison to America. And what sort of implications that has on a socialist government that's got to put money out for everything. And there's only limited resources to go around. And not in money. We could print money all we want, but there's only so many doctors who want to take that fake money. There's only so much of that good, high-paid, quality individuals who make America what it is. So no, I don't celebrate the death of Fidel Castro. In fact, it passes on me like any other day, right? I didn't celebrate it. I didn't feel any sort of sorrow. I didn't feel any kind of real reverence either for the Cuban people, because I don't feel like they're in a good place anyway. And there's one other issue with Fidel and the atrociousness of his actions. That is the American response, and how our president, rather than face Fidel and question him on his actions for all these years, sort of gave him a pass. He gave him a pretty decent pass and said, you know what? Let bygones be bygones, and the hundreds of thousands, maybe millions that you killed, so be it. It is what it is. You're one of us now. Welcome to the team. We're going to do exports together and make you even more rich of a tyrannical leader, with monies that'll never see the hands of your people. And there's a difference between meeting with a tyrannical despot leader like Fidel and having words with him that lead to war, in comparison to meeting with a leader like this and having words with him that would give him pause. And I think that's the difference, and that's what we're looking for in a leader in America. We don't want to fight every nation, but we are, not that we want to be, we are an example of a quality nation, of a nation above any other. I don't care what you say. We are an example of that. Our people are an example of that, and we can use that to influence these leaders rather than bow to them. When we bow to them, well, you have what you have on the world stage today. This is exactly why you have what you have on the world stage today, because we've bowed to these leaders for the last 8 years. And hallelujah, that time has come to an end. We'll see what Donald Trump has to do. We'll see what kind of a mindset he brings to these talks. And I hope he talks to people in a respectful, yet, honest manner. That's what I hope to see. I hope when he goes to talk to a Putin, he tells him, you're a little bit rough around the edges, boss. You know what I mean? I think you might want to consider freedom and democracy a little more and stop assassinating people in your streets. Boom. That's all. Simple. Not go there and stare at, I always see Putin and Obama share nervous stares, share evil stares, share twisted stares at one another as they pass by at the UN summit. Why haven't they talked? Why has our leader not talked to Putin? That's the difference. You understand? That's the difference. That is the difference. That will be the difference. And that's all I have to say about old Fidel and his buddy Che, who can rest in pieces for all I care. It's James Walton with I Am Liberty, folks. This holiday season, Lady Liberty has the house smelling amazing with her products from Pink Zebra. pinkzebrahome.com/Michelle Walton is the website. I want you to check out pinkzebrahome.com/Michelle Walton, WALTON. What are you getting for that special someone in your life this year? Do you have a plan? It's getting late. It's getting late. Husband, wife, children, co-workers, get them something unique from pinkzebrahome.com/Michelle Walton. Right now we're burning something that smells like an alpine forest in the house. In the fall we burnt some kind of cider scent that was just right. It was fall. Right? These scents are unique. They come with these beautiful shades that can cover your simmering lights and your simmering pots. And they make a great gift, right? They make a great and unique gift for your loved ones this holiday season. So do some shopping at pinkzebrahome.com/Michelle Walton. It's pinkzebrahome.com/Michelle Walton, WALTON. Because, 'tis the season. So we see Ohio State stabbed up, right? 9 people injured, something to that effect. And there's a story within this story, and it's not the fact that the youth, the young man, the young hopeful was a Somali refugee from 2007. That's a story in and of itself that I'm sure, will bloom as the days come. Right? As the days go on, I'm sure we'll find out more about this peace-loving, America-loving Somali who, whatever ties there are. But I read the story and, immediately I think, what do you think? Immediately I see shooting on campus, and I think either distraught, wimpy white guy or radical Muslim. That's how these things work, right? I mean, law of averages. Distraught, wimpy, upset white guy or radical Muslim. Right? I knew it was 50-50. So we see this take place and people get all, upset and whatever. The extreme right wing are going to say immigration, and Muslims. And the left wing, I don't know what they're going to say because there weren't any guns involved. I guess they're going to say knives, ban the knives. Ban the knives. Sporks only on campus. No knives on campus. This is insanity. Apparently the Somali smashes a car into people, gets out with a big giant knife and proceeds to stab. Right, proceeds to stab. Sure, no doubt a lesson he learned in his wonderful nation and brought, to the melting pot that is America. This is how we deal with our issues in Somalia. We hack away at them, whether those issues are made of blood and bone or not. I can't say that. I can't make a discerning comment about the pirate nation of the world, the largest pirate-producing nation in all of the world. Listen, there's definitely some great Somali people in the nation. But we can't lie to ourselves and pretend like every immigrant that comes into this country is bringing us great wisdom and gifts. Right? Everyone who crosses the American border is bringing us great wisdom and prosperity and gifts from their culture. No, some people just come to get on the government dole and to stab people who they disagree with. That's reality. You want reality? If you don't want reality, you can watch CNN. There's a million different channels you can watch, radio, podcasts. There's a million things you can spend your time listening to. If you would like an unchecked dose of reality from a guy who's living a life full-time, I'm a full-time life liver, okay? I'm full-time in la vida. That's it. And if you want a dose of reality and a dose of truth, then come watch I Am Liberty, right? Come listen to the I Am Liberty show and enjoy yourself. Welcome in, take a seat, get comfortable, remove your scarf, and listen to the, the mores. But anyway, there's a bigger story within this story. There's a story within this story that only I will report on. Because it's not terrifying, it's not terrible, it's not devious, it's not mysterious, it's not frightening, it's not terroristic. There were several safety measures put in place by Ohio State. Reactionary measures that have been created based on shootings of the past. And the brilliant minds of safety professionals who work within the schools, who have identified the risks of active shooters and active attackers now, I guess we have to call them, right? So we've identified these risks. This is such an incredible thing to me because I just put out a book a month ago called Survive a Mass Shooting, right? Survive a Mass Shooting is done well, and I appreciate all the help. There's a young lady carrying her dog down the street right now, and I can't figure out what that's about. Survive a Mass Shooting was basically very similar in plot to what happened in Ohio State. Right? It's information, it's good quality information for educational purposes that can have you prepared to react to a situation like this. And when I looked at what happened at Ohio State today, you've heard me a million times talk about the new training that Americans must undergo. Right? There is an undeniable level of training that Americans must undergo in today's world, right? It's not in the Bible. It's not on PBS. It's not in the schools. There's training that Americans must undergo, and one of those trainings is how to react to a situation like this, which is going to happen again. It'll happen again and again and again in this nation. It's part of what it means to be American. Now, you might not like that. You might think that, we shouldn't live in a time or in a nation like that where we have to worry about things like this happening. Well, yeah, your feelings are really irrelevant and no one cares. Your feelings about what we should and shouldn't deal with in America are pretty much pointless and irrelevant. What is way relevant is us having the ability and the education to react properly, and that's what happened on campus. There was a mass texting, right? There was a mass texting effort done by the school, which hit the cell phones, which is a brilliant communication method with the youth. And this message hit the cell phones of all the youth and immediately shot out the message, run, hide, fight, which is a commonality that shows itself in Survive a Mass Shooting, the book, my book. And this message was shot out to all the students all over campus. They understood exactly what that message meant. They understood what to do in the event of that message. Some sheltered in place, and many stayed away from the school altogether. They were then briefed. So in other words, they were trained in some degree on what these things mean. Some degree they were trained on when you get this text message, this is what you do. They listened. They waited for the next move from those individuals running the campus. And to be completely honest with you, this is safety protocol at its best. This is safety training at its best. Nobody will talk about it, right? Because 9 people died, or 9 people were injured, rather. It's a terrible thing. But what this shows me is that we're learning. That's what it shows me. This shows me that we're learning and we're figuring these things out. And as we grow and as things like this continue to happen in our nation, we're going to understand, oh, okay, this is how we react. This is how we react, and this is how we take advantage of this training, this new level of training we have to undergo as a people, and maybe even as a world. Right? So despite the feelings of the ultra-liberals on the campus of The Ohio State University, somebody spoke up and said we need to be prepared for these mass shootings, like it or not. And they did just that. And today was an example of how those trainings worked. And to a guy like me, that's exciting. To a guy like me in a profession that I've been in for so long, it's exciting when safety protocols work. And you understand that humans using their brains to come up with policies and procedures can affect the safety and well-being of of the people they're overseeing. Right? That's power. That's power. On any level, that's power. And I'm very happy to see it go down like that. Like I said, my condolences to those who were hurt and who died. But at the same time, this is a move in the right direction, and this is exciting to a guy like me. It really is. And that's the story within the story of Ohio State. You know, I'm not going to harp on the Somalian background. I'm not going to harp on the Muslim whatever, who knows, with ISIS ties and pledged allegiance. And you know what? Why give them the time? Why give them the time of the day? Right? Why give him the public? Why give him the airtime? Who cares who he was affiliated with? He was an idiot, loser, bum. His nationality is pretty much irrelevant. Isn't it? To me and to my listening audience, to you folks out there listening to the I Am Liberty show, his nationality is irrelevant. Why? Very simple. Because we live in reality. We know there are Muslims out there ready to kill us. We know there are Muslims out there dying to kill us. We know they're planning lone wolf attacks. We know they're learning how to kill people with knives. We know that from the age of an infant, they're witnessing beheadings. They're learning that this is the way of the infidel, and this is what should happen to them. This is reality. This is reality. So when you muck all that together and you mush it all together, what you find out is that, you know what? You live in a world where there's people out there who want to kill you. And rather than sit around and be hateful and hatred towards certain races and certain peoples, you merely come to the understanding that these are the terms, baby. These are the terms, and you better be prepared. So rather focus your energy on how you will be prepared for a situation like this, which is well outlined in my book, Survive a Mass Shooting. Pick it up. It's $2, whatever it is, $3. And yes, that's what you prepare for. Right? You focus your energy on being prepared for what happens. Oh my God, something like this happens to me. What do I do? How do I react? How do we react as a family? What is the game plan? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. There'll always be people out to kill you, out to hurt you. Inherently, there's evil in the world. You can't escape that. You can harp on it. You can Muslim this and Somali that and Afghani this and hijab that. If you live in a world of reality, you already have made your diagnosis. Right? The people who listen to this show, they understand that there's a small war. Right? That there's a small war domestically happening. And that the soldiers aren't quite at the they haven't reached the apex of their potential just yet. The soldiers of Islam. It'll happen. It'll happen, but until then, you just prepare to keep yourself and your family safe. That's all you can do. That's really all you can do, folks. What do you want me to sit here and bellyache over Islam and Muslims, and I'm so sick and tired of the immigration? There's several other people saying the same thing, right? There's a myriad of hosts and hostesses who have a much bigger audience than me, saying much of the same thing. So why waste my breath? To be frank and to be honest, hold on, let me pay my toll, my debt to society. To be frank and to be honest with you, if you're listening to this show and you haven't come to the conclusion that there are Muslims amongst us that want to behead us and our family and our children, I'd probably prefer you don't listen, because you're living in Disney. You know what I mean? And you're not going to be able to take this show for what it is. That's just my 2 cents on the matter, okay? My chest hurts. I went a little too hard at the gym yesterday. I'm a little sore. The night has come already, and God, the day is over. And I'm moving into my final day at the food bank, and it's starting to hit me. I'm getting a little emotional. I've been working with these people for a very long time, and this is a non-profit organization that I work for. So you have to understand what that means. That means several things, but one of the things it means is that you're working with the most, and I say this without flinching, the most caring, the most dedicated, and the most mission-driven people that you'll ever be around in your life. You know, these people are not working for dollars and cents. They're not pushing for every penny. They're not making sales goals for some bigwig in a corporation. No, these people are blood, sweat, and tears being innovators, creators, right? Reimaginers. And they're creating a beautiful picture for those who are hungry across Central Virginia. And it's been an honor. You know, it's been an honor to be with these people for this long. It really has. It really has been an honor, but life is about change. That's the only constant, so they say. Change and taxes and death. Right? That's the only constants in life. So what do I say to that? I don't know. You know what I mean? What you want me to go on another philosophical tangent? You want me to complain about Hillary? She wants a recount. You know, the media ate Donald Trump alive, told you that he was a loser, that he was miserable. He really should accept. When the media thought that Donald Trump was finished, right, which was up until he won, right, the beginning of the day when we were all out voting, well, there's really no way mathematically that Donald Trump could win. I mean, it's really impossible for him to win. There's really no way that he can win whatsoever. I mean, it really is impossible for this man to pull anything out. He can't win. He won't win. He shouldn't win. He shan't win. And he really needs to just be okay with that. Okay, that's what the peaceful transition of power is all about in our nation. The peaceful transition of power is very important to us because we're liberals, progressives. Peaceful transition of power. So then late in the evening, Donald wins, right? Donald starts to he wins Pennsylvania, the whole world falls apart. And what we find now, weeks later, is that all of a sudden, Hillary reemerges like Frankenstein's monster. And, no, you know what she's more like? She's more like Freddy Krueger, right? She comes to you in your dreams. If she kills you in your dreams, you die for real. She comes to you from your dreams, Freddie Clinton, and she wants a recount. She's unhappy with the peaceful transfer of power. And all she's going to do, see, this is the problem. These are the unintended consequences, right? These are the fools in the government. These are the people in the government, the well-intentioned idiots. There's people in the streets rioting, walking, marching, protesting. She's going to throw fuel on that fire by demanding a recount and give them rhetoric and give them a plan and give them more reason to be angry and shatter the windows out of your business. Rather than settle with her loss and understand that this is what America wanted, she's going to demand a recount. And the hypocrisy grows even wider. And in this hypocrisy, the strength for someone like a Donald Trump grows even further. What else can be said? What else can be said, folks? I mean, that's the reality. That's the stark reality. Right? Am I right? I think I'm right. And on that note, I'm going to be right. What do I want from you? Let's see. It's Christmas time. What do I want as I close this show out? I want you to buy the book if you have it. I want you to go to the website. I want you to share this episode with people who you love and tell them, listen, you need to listen to this guy. This is what I want. Can I give you a wish list? I want you to share my hard work. I want you to let people know that there's a guy out there who is freelance writing for the survival industry. And he's been podcasting for 5 years and writing books, and he's the man you want to represent your blog, represent your product, represent your ebook, whatever it is. You need lead generation, you need infographics created, James Walton is your man. Okay? Get in contact with me, jwrights.com, because I'm attempting something. The American dream is at hand, and I'm going to push as hard as I can to make it happen, and I hope to be an example for you out there who have something of the same idea.